g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. Well, g'day curd nerds. And there I am. Hopefully it's all working. Yes, looks good. No funny sounds or anything. Lovely. And welcome to Ask the Cheeseman. This is episode 87 of Ask the Cheeseman. Very cool. And we've got lots of people in the chat at the moment. So according to my little YouTube thing up the top there, it says 32 people watching, which is fantastic. So, great to see you all here, as always, and wouldn't be Wednesday without an Ask the Cheeseman, or Tuesday, wherever you may be. Okay, just a shout out to some new patrons we've got this week. So, Derek Schuster, thank you very much, Derek, for your patronage, and Lisa Farmer, thank you, Lisa, for your patronage as well. So the cheeses that I've been working on over the weekend have been saffron infused cheese, which I'll show you a little bit of right in a second. Technology. Saffron infused cheese. Here we go. Hopefully there's no swearing in the background. So there it is there. It's not only got saffron in it and little saffron stamens through it, but it's also got some black peppercorns, as you can see there as well. So that video will be released this weekend sometime. So watch out for that one. I'm looking forward to finishing the editing and all that sort of stuff. And the next one, I made another one then on Sunday. Let's see if I can find that. Where are you? Where are you, cheese? Here it is here. And this is cam blue. So I'm making cam blue in the style of camembert. And this is just one of my few attempts to trickily turn the cheese over, as you can see. Here we go. Hope he doesn't make a mess. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. Good turn. And there they are, all complete. Anyway, so that's me turning some cam blue. So I did that on the weekend as well. So hopefully you've been making some cheeses as well, which is always fantastic. So they're going to be great little cheeses. So the cam blue I'm still working on. That's taking a little bit of time. There's some special things you have to do to make the blue grow first and then the white bloom afterwards. So I'm working on that at the moment. They're air drying at the moment. And then they'll go into the cheese cave for a couple of days, come out, I pierce them, go back in the cheese cave for a couple of days, come out, and then I spray them with Penicillium roquefort, Penicillium candidum and Geotrichum candidum. So that should be good fun. Okay, so, and last but not least, don't forget, if you want to throw any donations my way, then obviously there's Super Chat, which is the little dollar sign down the bottom of the chat box. Okay, so let's get on with the show. Lots of people to shout out to. We've got Aga, Crumb, Jared, Bruce, David, John, Andy, Tolga, Ricky, Merrim, Draza, Steve, g'day Steve, Larry, Deep South Texas, Samuel, Reconciliation, Jimmy, and a few more, I think. Let me have a look. William, Shahar, Brad, Stephanie, and Kim's obviously there. Tom, Carol, Kevin, Elizabeth. I think I've got them all now. Anyway, so obviously there's lots more people watching than there are in the chat, as there always is. Did I tell you I got a new merch? I've got, let me just hold that up to the camera. There we go. It's Gavin sitting in the cheesy chair of wisdom. So yeah, I ordered my own mug. Call me a mug. But yeah, so that's one of the few, one of the many items you can buy in my Teespring store, which should be down below in the video. There's all the merch. Anyway, enough self-promotion. Let's have a look at some of the questions. Let me find one, the first one. All right. Aga says 3 more Petite Blue on the draining board at the moment. Definitely a hit recipe of mine. Thank you very much, Aga. Yes, it was a great little find. Mareem says, thank you for the live. Making pepper jack right now. Lol, so good timing. Excellent. Wish I could make cheese live. I tried the other day, actually, to do a live stream during one of my cheese making sessions, but the microphone I popped in just didn't work, and it was all crackly for the first 50 seconds. And then once it was live on YouTube as an archive, I couldn't figure out how to edit the first 50 seconds out, so I had to delete the video. So maybe next time I'll do a live cheese making session, so that'll be cool. Draza says, hey Gavin, I discovered your videos a few months ago. Really looking forward to making some cheese of my own and eventually build a little cave. I wonder if I can keep my kimchi in there. I would say no, because the bacteria are different. The bacteria used for fermenting vegetables like sauerkraut and kimchi are different than the lactic bacteria that you use to ferment cheese. So you'll get cross-contamination, especially if you've got a little airlock on your kimchi thing. And I think Ricky also said the same thing. Andy says, failed my first 2 cheeses, 3rd time's a charm. Yep, just keep trying. As Dory says, just keep swimming. Okay. Reconciliation says, how do I make mozzarella sticks? Well, there's something very similar, and it's called Armenian string cheese. I haven't made it yet, but most of the... Let me think, what's something similar? Try Oaxaca, spelt O-A-X-A-C-A, Oaxaca. It's a Mexican string cheese, very similar to mozzarella sticks, so try that, but it's wrapped in a ball. Steve says he's making kefili tomorrow. Can't wait. Well done, Steve. Andy said, Gav, make some osu arati from France. Great cheese. Might be sheep's milk, though. Yes, it is a sheep's milk cheese. I did make a cow's milk version. I think one of my very, very early videos about, 8 years ago, was osu arati. There's a video there for it somewhere. But then when I checked the recipe that I used for osu arati, it was extremely similar to a farmhouse cheddar, stir-curd cheddar recipe. In fact, it was almost identical. So I dare say if you're making any farmhouse-style cheddar, then it's very similar to the recipe for osu arati. Where else? And just had a subscriber. Thank you very much. William says, the man, the myth, the legend, Gavin Weber. Thanks, mate. Mareem says, what's the difference between Gouda and Edam other than the maturation period? Edam's made with a slightly lighter creamed, so it's less milk fat, whereas Gouda or Gouda has a lot more milk fat in the milk before you make it. The process for Edam's totally different as well. So, but don't get me wrong, they're both washed rind cheeses. washed curd cheeses. But Edam's actually treated a little bit different. It's actually plunged into warm whey to help it consolidate. So there are some subtle differences. They taste kind of the same. Gouda's often aged a lot longer, so you'll get a lot more robust and intense flavours with Gouda, especially the 12-month aged Goudas. They're really nice. Okay. Shahar says hello from Israel. G'day, mate. Brad says hello from Nebraska. Samuel says, how do you make jack pepper cheese? I need to know. Kim's probably already done. Yep. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Kim's already put the link. Thank you very much, darling. Appreciate your work as always. Tom says, hey, Gavin, I'm in Canberra and I'm looking to make my first cheese. I have the Mad Millie soft cheese kit. It's too hot at the moment for me to make camembert. Oh, is it too hot? No, because I think I just showed a video of me making cam blue. So the climate's not that different in Melbourne compared to Canberra at the moment. In fact, well, today's a nice balmy 26 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow's 37 and Friday is going to be 41. So, yeah, it's, look, as long as you're inside and it's air conditioned, doesn't really matter. It's fine. Okay. Elizabeth says that, where are we? I've missed it. That saffron cheese looks amazing. Yeah. I'll tell you what, a little bit of a process though. You'll see when you see the video this weekend, Elizabeth. It was a labour of love, a lot of steps to get to where it needed to be. In fact, the look is almost exactly as per the recipe that I got from cheesemaking.com, the New England cheesemaking supply. I think Jim Wallace. Yep, Jim Wallace was the author. And looked at his photos, and they look exactly the same. So I'm very happy with the outcome for that. Okay. Aga says, I added a lot to a can blue, and the white grew and blocked the air holes, so hardly any blue developed. Well, I'm hoping to alleviate that, Aga, by letting the blue grow first. I've only added the Penicillium Roqueforti so far to the cheese. And that was sprinkled in layers, not added to the milk. So hopefully there won't be any exterior blue growth. So once I pierced it, it should give enough oxygen for the cheese to start making blue veins, at least some anyway. And then when I spray it with the Penicillium candidum and Geotrichum, then that'll create the white mold. Fingers crossed, it should be good. Okay. Kevin says, can you use mesophilic instead of Floridanica, and what is the difference? Yeah, good question. Standard mesophilic cultures tend to have two subspecies of lactic bacteria, and that's Lactococcus lactis, subspecies lactis, that's one. And the second one's Lactococcus lactis, subspecies cremoris. So that's the second one. Normal mesophilic usually has about 2 strains. Floridanica, on the other hand, has 2 additional strains. And I'm not going to pronounce those 2 because they're harder. But there's 2 additional strains on top of those 2 that you have for mesophilic. And Floridanica is a aromatic mesophilic, and it creates, one of the cultures in it creates a buttery flavour or buttery texture to the cheese. So if you're looking for a soft cheese or something like camembert that's soft and creamy, then you'll need to use Floridanica in it. Okay. I'll keep going. Where are we? Spaclan says, Spacallan. Oh, sorry, got it wrong. Best place to buy supplies and press. Well, hopefully Kim's put a link, but go to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. We sell all over the world, all our cheese making supplies. Ricky says, I know it's not really cheese, but I'm making a lot of tofu right now. I've never made fresh tofu, so as long as it's not that fermented tofu, which it makes me a little bit ordinary, but the normal tofu, fresh tofu is fine. It's good stuff. Okay, Carol says, just cracked open the cheddar I made in October. It's so good. I'm glad it turned out, Carol. And I'm glad you're able to make cheese now that the hurricane season has gone. Oh, looks like we've got a super chat there somewhere. Carol, thank you very much. So as we speak, and let me just stop this flashing light in the background. There we go. Thank you, Carol, so much for your super chat. I wonder if there's a question attached. It says, thank you, and Kim, for all we do. Thank you so much, Carol. I really appreciate it. Okay. Where are we up to? Caustic Truth says, Butterkäse is now my wife's favourite cheese. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. It is a very, very nice cheese. I really did enjoy the flavour, the subtle flavour, the creaminess that comes with a good Butterkäse. And if I hadn't have made cheese, then it wouldn't have ever come to my attention here in Australia because I've never seen it for sale. So, Jimmy Eats the World. What's the weirdest cheese you've made? Well, some would say that, and Kim keeps referring to my Caciocavallo as the two knackers. So that's the weirdest looking cheese I've ever made. And you would have seen the taste test that I released on the weekend. So for the weirdest looking cheese, yeah, that would probably take the cake. Rimmer says something in French, which I will have to translate. Just bear with me for 1 second. This takes time, of course, because I can't speak French. So I'll have to rely on the Google machine. And the Google machine says, hi, Gavin, does the acidity of the milk kill unwanted microbes? Good question. So when you use raw milk, there's more of a chance of there being unwanted lactic bacteria or microbes or bad bacteria in your milk. But that can be fixed up with a technique that when you make your cheese, and it only applies to some cheeses, and I know there's a lot of raw milk cheeses in the world, but in Australia the safety rules are as follows. So you've got to cook the curds to at least 48 degrees Celsius. This is the last time I looked at it anyway. At least 48 degrees Celsius, and it has to be aged at less than 10 degrees Celsius for, I think it's at least 6 months, 6 to 10 months, I'm pretty sure. And that environment obviously kills off any lactic bacteria, any of the bad bacteria that may be present in your milk and or the cheese. So there you go. Bruce says you need to make another attempt at live. The live cheese making session. Yeah, that'll be cool. I will. I've just figured out the technical difficulties. It was the microphone was a bit dodgy, but anyway. Miriam says, what's the benefit of using wood and putting it under the cheese while the cheese is maturing? Oh, there we go. We got another super chat. Thank you very much, Steve, for your super chat. And Steve says, Kim, thanks for your work behind the scenes. So that one's for you, honey. I'll give you the $2 when it comes in. There we go. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Steve. Let me just turn that off. There we go. And we'll back up to the questions again. Trying to find it. Okay. So using wood under the cheese. Well, a lot of the cheese makers throughout the world use pine and they have pine boards, and they set the cheese on the pine. It helps with aging and has specific properties that help the cheese to grow its rind and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I do have some cheeses in the cheese cave sitting on pine as we speak. Patricia says, I so enjoy your weekly chats. Um, now I can use them as my weekly reminder to turn over my gouda in the cheese cave. I wish somebody would remind me to turn my cheeses over, honestly. I know I have. I've got in my calendar, I've got reminders to do it, but sometimes I forget them. In fact, so much so that the Montasio that I was making yesterday, I discovered it in the back of the cheese fridge. It had gone unmanaged for 2 months, so it had been sitting there. So it was like a pancake, uh, covered in molds that even I wouldn't eat. So bit of a worry. So I actually had to throw it. First cheese I've had to throw out in a very, very long time. So even I have failures. Not saying I'm the best cheesemaker in the world, but sometimes you just forget these things are there, and it was right at the bottom shelf, and I couldn't see it because when I bent over, it was out of sight. So I haven't got the biggest cheese cave in the world either. So I don't know, some bit of neglect for cheese. Anyway, sorry about that. So you'll never get to see the taste test for the Montasio. Samuel says, what would you say is the strongest commercial cheese out there? Something like you could find at Walmart or something. I don't know. Strongest as in smelliest. Good strong blue will do that for you anytime. Any washed rind cheese that's been aged for a while. But stuff at Walmart and any supermarket are very tame by comparison from what you can buy from, say, an artisan cheesemaker or a cheesemonger. If you go to a proper cheesemonger, you will get properly matured, looked after cheese. So it's probably the best place to buy stronger type cheeses. Jimmy says Oaxaca. Yes, thank you, Jimmy. Chris, can you air dry / cure mozzarella in the same way as provolone or caciocavallo? Are there any other types of cheese that can be made like this? Scamorza is one that comes to mind. That is very similar to mozzarella. In fact, it's almost the identical recipe. And you can age that, hang it for about 2 months, same sort of thing as what you can do with caciocavallo. All of the pasta filata cheeses are very similar. In fact, I use just one single recipe now to make pasta filata and then just age it as you need to. Sometimes I add lipase in the like I did with provolone because I didn't have raw milk, and you're supposed to have raw milk to make provolone and good mozzarella. But yeah, so I use the same recipe. So if you check out the Oaxaca or Caciocavallo recipe, they're almost identical. So you can use those to make any of the pasta filata cheeses you want. Jennifer says, how do you make Borson? Make a video, please, unless there's already one. No, there's not a video. But I will have a look and check out if I can find one. Steve says, Super Chat didn't work. Oh, you must have, because you did one. Well done. Tried to make hoop cheese, and the recipe said to add rennet and wait 8 hours before straining. I ended up with a mess like cake batter. Any idea why it failed? No. I add rennet and wait 8 hours. It should be solid as a rock. No, don't know. So you probably... No, I don't know. Unless I've got the recipe in front of me, Steve, I couldn't tell the steps. So if you send me a direct message via the About page of YouTube, then I'll get that and I'll have a look at it for you. Ricky says, don't forget the icon. Not sure what you're talking about there, Ricky. Michelle, Have nowhere to cure my cheese. Any suggestions? I have an insulated food shed. Cool in there. Has canned foods. I do. Well, the temperature you need is about 13 degrees Celsius and roughly about 80% humidity. So if it's that temperature and that humidity, you should be fine. If it's just that temperature, then use ripening boxes to get the humidity up, or just simply, if they're cheeses that can be waxed or vacuum packed, then just do that and store them in there. That's the temperature range you're looking for, between about 10 Celsius and 13, which is 50 to 55 Fahrenheit, roughly. That's kind of the temperature range you're looking for. So if you can find that. When I made my first Wensleydale, I had no cheese cave either, and that was a hard English cheese. What I did was I found a place in the house, which just happened to be the linen press, or the cupboard where all the linens are stored, and basically just put it in there because that was about 13 degrees all day, all night, so that was fine. So I just put the waxed cheese in there, and then Bob's your uncle, it was fine. Lovely cheese. So as long as you find a place in your house somewhere where the temperature's just right, just like Baby Bear. Tali says, thank you for your videos. I've made feta yesterday. So far, so good. My toddlers like softish, fairly tasteless cheese like Baby Bell. Can you recommend something I can make for them? Let me think. Oh, yeah. Buddha-Kaiser. Try Buddha-Kaiser. Very similar flavour to Baby Bell. So try that. Draza says, guest, as I suspected, have to keep fermenting the kimchi on the bench and in the fridge. It's pretty resilient, but it can develop a lot of calm, though. Right? No, I've never made kimchi, so I don't know. Maybe it's that froth on top. Tyler says, what style do you recommend for someone's first attempt at cheese making? Make some soft cheeses first, Tyler. I would make, in this order, try ricotta, then paneer, then try halloumi as your first rennet cheese. And halloumi is amazing. Never underestimate the power of halloumi. It's very good cheese. So do that, and yeah, it should be all sweet. Jordan says, can you shout out to Lara, Tom, Ben, Alex in Norwich, England, please? I think I just did. G'day, guys. Welcome to the Cheese Channel if you're watching. Reaper says, howdy, Gavin from the US Gulf Coast. G'day, Reaper. Tom says, 38 here. Oh, degrees. Thank you, though it might be an Australian day tester. Oh, okay, as in cricket. I think that's what you mean, Tom. Draza, Friday can bugger off, Gavin. I know I'm probably not leaving the house. My hottest day was about 46 back in Adelaide, though. Yeah, the hottest day we've had here is 47.7, which was during Black Friday back in 2009. Yeah, so the summers are just getting worse. Okay. Mareem says, I'm trying to transform a fridge into a cheese cave. How to increase the humidity in the fridge to 85. The humidistat only shows 50. Any advice? Yes. So give up trying to make your entire fridge the right humidity and just use ripening boxes. So just plastic tubs, nothing special, just a plastic tub that will hold the width of your cheese and have a mat in there. If you haven't got any plastic mats, then just use bamboo sushi mats from the supermarket. They're all readily available. And stack a couple in there and then put your cheese on top. Put the plastic lid on top. And usually that'll get you with the cheese, with the moisture from the cheese evaporating, you'll get about 80% humidity. Now, if you need it higher for cheeses like Camembert and Brie and stuff like that, just put some cloth. I use Chucks, which is like a dishcloth, clean one, of course, fresh off the roll. Make sure that's moist and put those under the bamboo mats, and that'll bring your humidity up to about 90% relative humidity. So give up trying to make your fridge humid. Just use a ripening box for the different cheeses. There you go. Hope that helps. Dwayne, g'day, mate. How are you? Bart, g'day, 41. Come for the visit in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We're looking forward to minus 27. Oh, with a wind chill of minus 40. Very nice. Keep up the cheesy content. Thanks, mate. Jordan, there are 3 different Thorpes around Norwich alone, Kim. Oh, that's right, because Kim said that her family lives in Norwich as well. Bruce says, Gavin, do you know the source of your vegetarian rennet? I was reading that some of them come from GMO sources. This one is non-GMO. It's by C.H.R. Hansen, which is I think they're a Danish company. Don't quote me on that. And it's called Chimax Plus. So go and look for that. And that's exactly the vegetarian rennet that I use and have the most success with. Okay. Dwayne says, what's your favourite cheese that you made in 2018? I know what Kim's favourite cheese was, and that was the Caciocavallo that we tried this weekend. I made that in 2018. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look through the list of cheeses, but really, they're all pretty good. I didn't have any that I didn't like, which is good. So, don't know. Oh, of course. Here I'm thinking, the triple pepper jack for laughs and lols and ruffles. That was the funniest and probably my favourite cheese. I couldn't stop eating it. It was so hot. It was burning my mouth, but it was just an amazing cheese. So, Dwayne, there you go. Okay, Jimmy says fermented tofu is delicious. I have to disagree there, mate. I don't quite like it. And tofu is made in a similar way to cheese, kind of. Your curdling soya bean milk or water. So kind of the same, Dwayne. Ricky says, have you ever considered giving your past failed cheeses another try? All the time. So I would make Montasio again, using the same recipe, but I would not allow it to make a natural rind. I'd probably just vacuum pack it straight away. So, what the heck's that? Oh, it's Holly underneath the stool. Holly's my dog, one of the cheese taste testers. So yeah, and I've been trying to make cottage cheese about 3 or 4 times. So yeah, I'll keep trying. So yeah. Ricky says some of the cheeses from your earlier videos would have been too sweet with a taste test. Yeah. I will be making Stilton again very soon as well, because I think that needs an updated video. The video was a bit sketchy, so yeah, a bit ordinary. And Ben, thank you for subscribing there, mate. Kevin says, made some mascarpone, yep, from your recipe, and put the lemon juice and cream of tartar. Tastes good, but more tart than the store-bought. Yeah, maybe ease off on the lemon juice a little bit. I found the same thing. It was a little bit strong, but yeah, it's cool. Carol says, Budakaiser is a family favourite here too. Yeah, it is. It's a great cheese, Carol. John says, when are you going to make some cold smoked cheese? I know, you keep asking all the time, John. Sorry, mate. I just haven't got around to it yet. It's one of those things, you know. Michelle says, no place to ripen my cheese. Insulated food shed is moist and cool. Afraid it might pick up bad bacteria. Probably wouldn't if you vacuum packed or wax your cheese. It won't pick up any bad bacteria. It should be fine. If that's the type of cheese you're making, Michelle. Alicia says, would keeping that cute warm with steam help remove the mechanical holes that show up in some cheeses? I think there's a auto text file there somewhere. Would keeping that cute? No, don't understand. P.S. Do you know about white potash supposedly deodorizing stinky cheese? No, I haven't heard that one either. Sorry, Alicia. Um, Bruce says you need to reprogram the curd nerd sign to turn itself off after 30 seconds. Bruce, I wish there was that option in if this then that, because that's what's powering the curd nerd sign from YouTube. There is no turn it off after 30 seconds, unfortunately, unless I haven't checked recently and they've actually slipped one in, but no, they haven't. Shad says, what temperature range is needed for a cheese refrigerator? You should be able to take it down to at least 7 degrees Celsius. And the highest I've ever seen is, for any recipe, is about 16 degrees Celsius. So that's the rough temperature range you'll need. Ricky says, Gavin, can you turn your cheeses, please? I will. From now on, I will. Jason from NKY Homesteading says, hello, Gavin. I have some 2-year-old propionic Shimani and almost 2-year-old mesophilic. It's kept frozen all the time, so can I use it or should I toss it? I have used starter cultures that are over 3 years old and they've still worked fine. However, propionic Shimani is a little bit more temperamental. And a cheese I made recently, which was the Leodama, either I didn't add enough propionic Shimani or it wasn't viable because it was more than 2 years old. It didn't create the eye formation I wanted. So mesophilic will be fine. I've had no issues. If you want, just add a little bit more, and maybe with the propionic Shimani, add a little bit more as well, and hopefully it'll go all right. Mustafa, I think he's whistling or kissing me there. I'm not sure what that icon is. A kissing heart. That's lovely. Michelle, if I wax my cheese, will it protect it against bad bacteria? Yes, it will. Season Stars, how could you incorporate honey when making Gouda? I have purchased a clover honey Gouda and it was delicious. I have come across cheeses that have been honey infused, but I'm not sure what part of the process you would add it. Maybe, I'm just trying to think, maybe stir from, oh no, see, honey's runny as hell and sticky too. So, not sure. Unless what they do is after the brining that they put it in a honey bath or something. I'm not sure. It'd be very difficult to incorporate honey into the curds before you put it into the mold. So not sure what their process is. Sorry about that. Crumb says, hi Gavin, can you tell me exactly how exactly to use citric acid? Why should I use it? For what cheese are you referring to? Bit cryptic there, Crumb. Dominique, who's a member, thank you very much, Dominique, for turning up. That's lovely. Can you list, like on internet with small cheesemakers in Australia, Victoria? Want to see a road trip? Last year I did have plans for a road trip and go to a few artisan cheesemakers and show their wares and stuff like that. But time caught up with me. As soon as it comes to about October here, our store, Kim and I's store, littlegreenworkshops.com.au, where we sell all the cheese making stuff as well as soap, supplies, cold process, melt and pour, and candle supplies and bath and body supplies, bath bombs, that sort of stuff. And what's the last one? Brewing supplies. Come October, we are rushed off our feet. We don't stop moving for until 23rd of December, when it all starts to die down a little bit. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. One more. Oh, sorry about that. So I did plan it to do it in September, but we had to pre-plan for the Christmas rush and just got crazy. But maybe we're looking at doing some trips away. So maybe we can incorporate some visits to artisan cheesemakers. So we'll see what happens. But thanks, Dominic, for the gentle nudge. Jay says, to cheese or not to cheese? That is the question. Ricky says, how can we make cheese great again? Cheese is always great. Jane said, no, hang on. Where am I? Miss some. Samuel, what gave you your love for cheese? Was it a special memory? Yes. If you read my first book, Keep Calm and Make Cheese, you'll learn all about the reason for my love of cheese. It's in the first chapter. Michelle says, culture in freezer, how long will it last? Between 1 and 2 years. I've even pushed the envelope, pushed the boundary out to 3 years, and the cultures will still be fine. I just add a little bit more, so probably another 25% more if I'm using really old ones. As long as they're kept in the freezer the whole time, and you've got them in something like this, and not in the foil packaging that it normally comes in without a Ziploc lid, but keep them in something like this little jar. They'll last a very long time, and keep the lid screwed on very tight. Okay. Jane says, hello, I made gorgonzola a month back, but it looks like it's going sloppy already. Any suggestions as to why? Would you believe gorgonzola is one of the very few cheeses that I haven't made? So I've never gone through the process or the recipe. So I don't know why it's going sloppy. A good idea, a good tip is to make sure that your cheeses are dried sufficiently before you pierce the holes in them. They have to be dry to touch. You can't have any moisture on the outside. Or you didn't leave it in the hoop long enough and it's got too much moisture in it to form up, and that's probably why. That's the only thing I can think of from that very small comment there, Jane. Crumb says, can I add raisins to my cheese? Yeah, can't see why not. Why not? Have a go. And Patricia donated, what's that? $2 Canadian. Thank you very much, Patricia. Appreciate it. Let me just turn that off. There we go. Lovely. Thank you so much. And was there a question attached? No, there wasn't. But thank you very much, Patricia. I really appreciate your kind donation to the cheese cause. Okay, I'm way behind. Let me have a look where I'm up to. Draza says, good thing that cheese was waxed or your linen would smell cheesy for months. Yes, it does give off a pretty good odour. Samuel, thanks for making your tutorials, by the way. I love your channel more than any other channel. You're the online king of cheese. Thank you very much, Samuel. Appreciate that. Aga, got to make some Garoxter. Not sure what Garoxter is. Let me see. Is there such a cheese that I can find? Let me have a look. Or am I going to get something funny, Aga? Garoxter cheese. Oh, there it is. Traditional Catalan goat's milk cheese, almost extinct by the early 80s, has been revived by young cheesemakers and goat farmers cooperative in the Garotza, I think that's how you pronounce it, area of Catalonia. The revival began in 1981. The cheese became widespread in artisanal production. So it's a goat's milk cheese made in Catalonia. There we go. Thanks, Aga. Do you have a recipe that you can share? Maybe I'll be able to make it because I can get my hands on fairly good goat's milk. I think you've got my email address, so shoot through the recipe. That'll be lovely, mate. XST33Z3YXX. Hey, Gavin, don't have a question. Just wanted to say I love your videos and keep doing a great job. Thank you very much. And I can't pronounce your name. Samuel, can you shout out to Gareth William, long-time fan, loves you dearly, and Colin in Canada. Hello, Gareth, and hello, Colin. Thanks for watching and being long-time fans. Corey says, What's a good goat's milk cheese to start off with? Uh, a nice simple one that I made was feta, just using 100% goat's milk. Turned out really nice. Very simple cheese to make, easy. You can eat it within about 3-4 days after it's been in the brine. But yeah, it's good. What's a good book? Sorry, Michelle says, good book on recipes for lots of cheeses. Well, obviously there's mine, Keep Calm and Make Cheese. That's got 28 recipes in it, but it's not got lots of recipes in it. A good book, and we do have a link, and Kim will probably get it. Hang on, I'll just find it. One of my favourites off the bookshelf, this side, Gav, is 200 Easy Homemade Cheese Recipes by Deborah Amron Boys. Lots of recipes in it. I've had to modify most of them because the amounts of milk she uses is like 16 litres, which is, what's that, 4 gallons? Yeah, 16, yeah, 4 gallons. So it's a very good book, and Kim will probably put the link up in a minute. And if not, I'll put the Amazon link up later on. Okay, so that's a good book. Yeah, where I'm up to. Agus says, the weather gets too hot, dig a huge cheese cave and live in it. Yeah, I've often been tempted to drain the swimming pool and put a big concrete bunker and lots of earth over the top, and that'd be my cheese cave. That'd be pretty cool, but Kim won't let me. Or I was going to make a fish farm out of it, so either or. But I do like going for a swim now. So okay, Jane says, do you recommend putting a hole in the ripening boxes or keeping the lid on partly? No, if you're turning it every day anyway, it's going to have sufficient airflow. Cheeses do suffer sometime from not having enough airflow around them because they are in a sealed ripening box. But if you're turning it daily, for most cheeses that are in ripening boxes, you'll need to anyway. And at least tip it upside down, the ripening box that is, to get rid of any CO2 that may build up in there. Because most cheeses like a bit of oxygen around them. Draza says, calm is yeast you can get in vegetable ferments, easily mistaken for mould, but it is just yeast and harmless. It can impart a yeasty flavour if you don't control it with salt and acidity and wipe it off. Yeah, Draza, that would be an issue because yeast loves to infect cheese and make it swell and have little holes in the paste. So, yes, definitely do not have your cheese and your kimchi in the same cheese fridge. Aga says lid on unless it needs air like blue. Yeah, well, there you go. Tali says thanks, Kim and Gavin. I'll check them out. Kevin made forme d'ambert about 10 days ago and still giving off whey. By already started going blue. Is this normal? Yeah, it was for me too. I think the curds may need to be drier. The next time I try forme d'ambert, I'm going to stir a little bit longer and let them dry a little bit longer as well. So, yeah, I'll do that. It says Patricia did a super chat, but there's no sign. Another one. Oh, she says, can I wax... Oh, there we go. There's the light. Gee, it took its time, internet. Patricia says, can I wax cheese with crevices on its surface? Yes, indeed. But it's probably best to vacuum pack it, Patricia, if you can, because that'll the vacuum motion will seal those crevices. So that's the best way to get rid of crevices in your cheese if you've got them. Waxing is suitable. The wax will just go into the crevice and still form a seal, so you won't get any infections. Okay. Back to the other questions. I'll always skip ahead for a super chat because I love them so much. Bruce said, Gavin, I find it interesting that you make So many difficult cheeses and still haven't gotten cottage cheese tart. Yeah, it's, yeah, I know. I'll get there. Samuel Mustafa says thumbs up. Thanks, mate. Samuel says, I despise Emmentaler cheese, changed my mind. Why do you despise it? It's just a holy cheese. Tastes very nice, bit nutty. I like it. Melts well. Great for toasted cheese sandwiches or grilled cheese sandwiches, whatever you want to do. Chris Draz is going on about his calm again. That's fine. Kristen says, hi, Gavin. Do you prefer cheese that have a lot of crystallization? My husband loves it. I'm not a fan. Look, I can give and take. What's it called? Trizine or calcium lactate crystals. I like them. If they're in a cheese, I won't not eat the cheese because it has crystals in it. But I don't go seeking it. I like so many different types of cheeses. Expands my palate and all that sort of stuff. So no, it is what it is. Aga says from the specs, Chimax Plus seems to be proper rennet, whereas Chimax Not Plus seems to come from GMO yeast. Ah, okay. There you go. That'd be the reason why I use it then. Thank you very much, Aga, for that in-depth research there. Dundar says, hey, Gavin, I went to a farmer's market and got 3 litres of raw cow's milk and 5 litres of goat's milk because he gave me a nice discount. I need to make lots of cheese next couple of days. Any suggestions for the goat's milk? Lots of cheese, yeah, 5 litres. Try a goat's milk cheddar. That'll be cool. Try, what's that one? Oh, Bloomy Goat Blue. That was very nice. You don't have to have the blue mould in it, but it's coated in ash and stuff like that. You get some very nice, probably 3, 4, maybe 5 Bloomy Goat Blues out of 5 litres of goat's milk, and the flavour will be intense. Very nice. Ricky says, Gavin will show you the way. Yeah, nice. Dundar says, would you like to try Khazar cheese, which is very similar to Cashcaval cheese? Well, I probably tasted it. The Caciocavallo was exactly the same as Cashcaval. I think Khazar is made exactly the same way as well. Skylark Rabbittree said, recently found your channel. We'll have 5 alpine goats freshening in 4 months and looking forward to a few cheeses this year. Bless you. Thank you, Skylark. And there's another super chat, I believe. Ruth. Thank you very much, Ruth. Appreciate it as always. And there's no question, but, you have got a question above it. Hang on, let me just read that out. And Ruth's a member too, by the way. Thank you very much, Ruth, for your monthly contribution. Hi, Gavin. Tried to make Oaxaca and it did not come shiny and did not stretch like yours. Did not help. Just stretched and broke a bit. What do you think? I think that the pH was probably not low enough. So it wasn't, unless you tested it, and it was. So I've come across this when I first started making pasta filata cheeses. I just didn't wait long enough. So always test the curd before you add it to the hot water. So it needs to be a pH between 5.3 and 5 is what you need. Otherwise, it won't stretch. And if it's actually lower than about 4.8, it won't stretch either. So you really have to catch it in that really narrow range, pH range, before you can stretch the cheese. So, Ruth, hopefully that helps. And thank you so much for your super chat and being a member as well. Okay, where are we up to? Corey says, do you brew your own beer? And if so, will you do any videos in the future on how to home brew? I haven't brewed home brew beer for a long time, Corey, but I have in the past, but I won't be doing any home brew videos. Sorry, mate. Samuel Gavin, will show me the way. Yeah, or that's already happened. Andy, I made lovely halloumi thanks to Gavin. Cheers, mate. Thank you, Andy. Hope it was very delicious. Patricia says, is it okay to wax a cheese that has mechanical creases on the surface? I don't have a vac pack. Yes, it'll be fine, Patricia. Even if the wax goes into the crevices, no big deal. When you cut the cheese, you can pick the wax bits out. So that's cool. Oh, and we've got another super chat. It's Ruth again. Ruth, you love giving super chat. Thank you very much, Ruth. Appreciate it. Hang on, I'll just fix that up. There we go. Thanks for that, $2. And right, back to the questions. Where am I? I'm so far behind. It's always so far behind. Jane says, I think the gorgonzola was wet when I pierced it, so that may be why it's now sloppy. Should I cut it now despite only being a month old? I just eat it because it's not going to recover, Jane. So give it a go now. It's not going to get any better. So just, it's got to be dry when you pierce it all over. So otherwise you don't know. Otherwise there's too much moisture locked in the curds and it will just flatten and the blue mold will just go mushy all over the surface and it won't be that dry powder you're looking for. Mayar from Israel says, I made your blue gouda last week. Fingers crossed. I wanted to ask you, do you have to press small molds of hard cheese? Do I need to press small molds of hard cheese? I don't understand. Sorry, mate. Yes, if you're using small molds for hard cheese, yes, you still need to press it at the same amount of pressure, PSI. So remember, it's pounds per square inch. So the smaller your mold, the less weight you need to put on to gain the same amount of pounds per square inch. Closet, no. Aga says, closest I could find, I think this is for the Grotza, was on Cheese Forum, posted by a Linux boy. Okay, I'll go and check that out. Grotza. I'll have a look. Crumb says, see you, Gavin. Have to go back home. We'll make more cheese. The workday is over. Cheese making evening starts. Well done, Crumb. Fricky says, are there many vegetables besides peppers that can be used in cheese? You can use nuts. You can use cranberries. I've done that before. Lots of stuff in cheese. Chilies. Dried chilies are great. Herbs, spices, so many things you can put in your cheese. It's all very good. Kim says that book was out of stock, but there's some more coming. I think she's probably just ordered some. Thank you, Kim. Kevin, I work for a supermarket chain in Canada, and they will sell me milk, both cows and goats, cheaper when close to the expiry date. Is it still okay to use? It'll be okay. It won't be the best. Milk is milk. When you make cheese, the best milk is freshest milk. So just keep that in mind. But it'll be okay to use. You just won't get a superior product. Okay. As long as it's safe to use and hasn't expired, because then expired pasteurized milk is even worse than raw milk. So. Mayall says, I saw your blue Gouda and blue cheddar and it was very similar. Can explain the difference? Yes, the blue Gouda was made using the Gouda recipe method and it's a washed curd cheese. The stirred curd blue cheddar was not. it was just using a stirred curd cheddar recipe. And the curd does not get washed when making the blue cheddar. So that's the difference. So by washing the curd, I mean taking some of the whey out at about midway through the process and replacing it with warm water to bring the temperature up a little bit and to wash away some of the acidity that the whey brings to the cheese. So that is what the difference is. Jane says, I made raclette. How far back should I scrub the orange smear down to a pale yellow colour? It sure does pong. With my... it's 1:30. Kim's probably giving me the wind up and I can't even see it. So hang on, let me just have a look. Yes, she's given me the wind up already. I didn't even look at the time. Sorry about that. So whoever had a question, sorry I didn't get to them. Unfortunately, if it's not a super chat, I'm not going to go scrolling through the news feed. Kim's given me the wind up, so don't forget to check out our online store, littlegreenworkshops.com.au. And you can support me over at Patreon or on YouTube with the join button. That's where you join as a member. I think it's $4.99 US, $4.99 US a month. Helen says, have I just one cheese making book? I do at the moment. I'm writing another one. It's taken forever. Kim says, don't forget the merch store. So you can find that at Teespring stores, cheeseman.tv or Cheeseman TV, sorry. And you'll find all the cool merch like the cup and all that sort of stuff. I am writing, yes, Kim says, I am writing a new book, Keep Calm and Make Even More Cheese. And that looks like about it for all the links and stuff. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you turning up. Without you guys, the show wouldn't be what it is, and we wouldn't have all these cool questions to answer and all that sort of stuff. But thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the merch store and all the other stuff that we sell. And thank you so much for watching.